Peace. What's happening? What's good, guys? Let's discuss Smackdown for February the 24th, 2023. A really solid show. A real solid show. I'm not even going to even front. So, Kayla Braxton, she's backstage. So, Jimmy Uso comes into play. She asked if he's spoken to Jey. Jimmy says he hasn't spoken with his brother, but he's called and texted and left messages. And he told him that he can meet him in the ring later on tonight to get anything off his chest. And then Jimmy walks out. First match of the night, Imperium versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet and Madcap Moss. Imperium wins, so Gunther gets the win via the powerbomb to Madcap Moss. Makes sense. For some odd reason, Drew McIntyre came out in the middle of the match for whatever reason. I have no idea why. That was kind of odd to me. So, post-match, McIntyre, he gets into the ring. Him and Gunther have a stare down. Gunther raises the title in the air. And then the Vikings, they get involved. They take out Drew. Sheamus comes down. He evens the odds. And then McIntyre and Sheamus, they take out the Viking Raiders. And Sheamus, McIntyre, Ricochet, and Strowman, they all stand tall in the ring. So I have no idea what this is all about. Doesn't make any sense. Moving on, Kayla Braxton, she's backstage with Rey Mysterio. He says tonight he will make sure he puts an end to carrying cross once and for all. Santos Escobar walks into play. He says there's only one thing Legado del Fantasma values, and that's respect. Santos has had the honor of receiving a mask from Rey Mysterio earlier in the month, and now he wants to show the fans how much he respects Rey. They tweet each other in Spanish. Rey says that's a mutual feeling. Then Dom and Rhea, they show up. So Dominik says it's pathetic how Santos keeps sucking up to the great Rey Mysterio. Dominik says Cross will teach Rey some respect tonight. Santos says Dominik needs to learn some respect for his father, or Santos will teach him. Ooh. Dom says in prison, those who didn't back their words up got dealt with. So Rey shakes his head and Santos laughs. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Really, really good stuff right here. Santos turns back around, but he doesn't find Dominik. He finds Rhea. She's in his face waving at him. So they both wish Rey good luck, and then Rhea blows a kiss to Santos, taunts him, and then they leave. So Rey, he's stressed out, but Santos tells him to don't let that bother him because he knows who he is. Rey asks, how could it not bother him? That's his son. And then Rey walks off and Santos shakes his head. Really good segment right there. Love it. I'm hoping that we get Santos Escobar versus Dom in due time. I think that could bang. I think that would be really good. And Santos being a face is great. And when I'm saying it could be a bang, not the match per se, but the story going into it could be really solid with it. Not the match. Because Dom, we all know Dominik should have been in NXT for at least 2.5, 3 months. I mean, no, my bad. 2.5 to 3 years, my bad. Yeah. Dom should have been in NXT for at least 2.5 years before coming up to the main roster. That's just my opinion. No, my bad. That's a fact. Moving on. So Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman, they're all backstage. So Jimmy talks to Solo and says everything has been crazy since the Royal Rumble. He says a few weeks ago he and Jey defended their tag titles. He knew Jey would be there for him, for us. But since Montreal, he doesn't know because it feels different. Jimmy thinks that Jey may be spooked out over this whole situation with Sami Zayn. Heyman says if that's the case, Solo should stay back with him tonight, and Jimmy can handle Jey face-to-face, man-to-man, twin-to-twin, Uso-to-Uso, personally. Jimmy says, yeah. Next, LA Knight. He comes into play. He says, let me talk to you. Yeah, dummy, yeah. He says, this is the season that everyone is talking about. How they want a WrestleMania moment. But he didn't come here for a WrestleMania moment. He came here to make money and win titles. And by being the best, and that's how does he do that? By going to WrestleMania. Yeah, he points to the sign and says, here's the twist. He's not the only one that's going to be having a WrestleMania moment, because you can't have an LA WrestleMania without LA Knight. And that means, and then we get the New Day. Oh my God. The stellest act in the business. The stellest act. These guys are stellar than the stellest bread ever made. Ever found. Oh my God, I'm so tired of the damn New Day. Ugh. Kofi says LA Knight doesn't understand how this works. He's only been here for a few months on the main roster. So who is he to be demanding things? LA Knight calls him the Nerd Day and knocks him for playing too many video games. Xavier Woods says being nerds have made him a lot of money. Xavier pokes jabs at LA Knight's sweater vest, making fun of that. He says that WrestleMania moments are earned, not handed out. Point in case of Mania. LA Knight says he doesn't care about their past. He's a creator of circumstances, not a creature of circumstances. LA Knight goes on and asks how Cup Mania has worked out for him so far, which I agree with. So then the New Day, they get into the ring. Kofi reminds LA Knight that he wanted the WWE title and says he's been fighting in the ring and behind the scenes, but he's not going to wait for a chance to shut up LA Knight in Evansville tonight. LA Knight laughs, and LA Knight asks if that was a challenge. Kofi says, if LA is dumb, and then Xavier Woods tells Adam Pearce to go ahead and send a referee out here. So that sets up LA Knight versus Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston wins via the Trouble in Paradise. I hate that they did this to LA Knight. Seriously. Come on. Like, for real. It makes zero sense. Moving on. Charlotte Flair, she's out next. So she knows that Rhea Ripley likes to run her mouth on Raw. So she can't wait to hear what Rhea has to say to her face. Charlotte calls Rhea out, but she's not coming out. So Charlotte says she smells hesitation. She asks if Rhea is scared after remembering what happened last time they were in the ring together. So Dominik comes out. So Dominik isn't going to let Charlotte run down on his mommy. Charlotte knocks him and tells him that to get Rhea and tell her to face her like a real woman instead of hiding behind a boy toy. Dominik says that that Charlotte sounds jealous and bitter because she knows that Rhea is the hottest thing in WWE right now, and no other woman has entered the Royal Rumble at number 1 and won it all. Flair, she smiles, and Dominik says that she's beautiful, and she should smile more. He goes on about how dominant Rhea is and how strong. So strong, she almost breaks his back when she hugs him. Charlotte interrupts and says she has a real Latino man at home and who calls her mommy, and says that his accent is much thicker. So obviously she's talking about Andrade El Idolo. So yeah, that was pretty funny. So Dominik brings up some similarities that he has with Charlotte. He said that they were both generational superstars. Dominik just knows that his father was worse and that really messed him up. He says when Rhea wins at WrestleMania, Flair will know because her dad was right. She was just not good enough. Charlotte says, unlike Dominik, she loves her dad, and he's 74 tomorrow. She wishes Ric Flair happy early birthday. Charlotte says that her dad can still go, and if he was here, he'd kick Dominik's butt, but since he's not here, so Charlotte is about to get into Dom's face. Out comes Rhea. The two have a stare down. So Dom pulls Rhea away, and they dip out the ring. So Flair, she picks up the title, raises it in the air, and Rhea gets back in the ring. They have a couple choice words from one another and taunt each other, and then that was it. Okay, that's okay. So the Dominik Mysterio stuff was tremendous. Great comedy gold. Love that shit. Really good, solid stuff. Natalya versus Shayna Baszler. Oh, my God. So, didn't watch the match. Didn't even care about it. Shayna Baszler wins via the submission. Post-match, Ronda Rousey comes out. She gets in the ring, attempts to take out Tegan Nox. So, Tegan Nox takes down Ronda Rousey. And Nox goes for Shayna Baszler, but she dips out to the floor. And then while walking up the ramp, Ronda says Nox is not done. Nox is done next week. And she does a rant about Natalya and Nox. So, okay. Next, the Firefly Funhouse. So this is a weirder and more bizarre version. So a red light covers the Funhouse. We hear somebody say, "Lie to me now." So we see somebody playing with action figures of The Undertaker and possibly a Bray Wyatt figure. So Wyatt, he's backstage in a production truck. He's laughing at last week's promo where he warned about, where he mentioned Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley in the winter. So we then see Lashley's promo from Raw. So Bray welcomes us to the Funhouse. He's joined by Rambling Rabbit. Wyatt says it's not okay here. He talks about a dragon with 7 horns. Some dragon with 7 horns and 10 crowns. For those of you guys that don't know, all that stuff's in Revelation. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. But he says, more importantly, who entered the door? He says it's time for the weather for the weather now. So we see a blacked out Uncle Howdy. Briefly does the weather, but he didn't really do it. So Bray appears on some sort of game show. He's the host now. He's like, "Can you keep a secret?" That's the name of the show. He's got all the different times, like 10 and 11, they're the same thing, and then at like midnight is something else. So there's another voiceover. He says, "Can you keep a secret?" So the Channel 6 lineup show is called "Can You Keep a Secret?" So we go back to the funhouse front door. There's tons of graphics flashing in and out. And then Wyatt appears in a black mask. He says, "If I told you a story, could you keep a secret?" And then we end the segment. So more cryptic, bizarre, weird shit from Bray, which I like. I love it. I'm a sucker for his work because I love his character work. It's the best in the damn business. Real top-notch stuff. So Jimmy, he's backstage with Paul and Solo. So Jimmy says he really needs to work things out with Jey tonight. Heyman says he hopes they do because he received a text message from Roman Reigns. So he shows that to Jimmy. He says Roman will be here live next week, and he wants Jimmy to handle Jey tonight, because if not, Roman will handle Jey next week. For Jimmy, personally. And Heyman walks out, and then Jimmy, he's stressed. I'm like, damn. Then we get the main event of the show. Karrion Kross versus Rey Mysterio. Kross gets the win via a distraction from Dominik. So Dominik comes out, he distracts Rey. That allows Kross to hit the cross hammer into the cross jacket, and Rey passes out. Rey submits. Then, post-match was brilliant. It was so damn brilliant. Dominik, he enters the ring. So, he slaps Rey down, and he talks trash to Rey, telling him to be a man and get his ass up. Dominik shoves his dad a few times. He taunts him. He's daring him to hit him first. Dom continues to shoving his dad and yelling at him. Rey steps to Dominik. The fans, they pop. Rey's about to ball his fist up, but he stops. Dominik tells him to be a man and do it. The fans chant, "Do it." Dom continues to taunt his dad, and he pushes him away. And then an angry Rey leaves the ring, and Dom continues to trash talk. I'm like, great stuff. Fucking love it. Really good shit. I love it. Absolutely golden. And we are getting Dominik versus Rey at Mania. It has to happen. Because I'm hearing rumors that there might be a tag match, but I don't know who would tag with Dom. Maybe Dominik and Damien Priest versus Rey, and maybe Rey and Bad Bunny. Or no, what they could be doing is maybe we do get Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar taking on Dominik Mysterio and Damien Priest. That could be where they're going with it all, because Santos wants to teach Dom about respect, so that would make sense. So they're probably gonna go that route. That would make sense, and have Rey get his comeuppance that way. So yeah. And then the closing segment of the show, Jimmy talks about recent happenings in the Bloodline. He says if Jey isn't here, he knows he's watching somewhere, and from brother to brother, He knows that Jay's torn, hurt, and when he's hurt, they're both hurt. Jimmy just wants to know that he's always here for Jay, just like he needs Jay to be here for him right now. Jimmy says people are talking, saying that there are cracks in the bloodline. He knows things are crazy. They have a Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens problem. They need to defend their titles. He knows Jay has a problem with Roman Reigns. Jimmy says he can't do this alone. So Sami Zayn, he comes from the crowd. He stares down Jimmy. He says he's not here to fight. Sami knows Jimmy wants to talk to Jay. And Sami would like to talk to Jay. But right now, Sami needs to talk to Jimmy. Sami says Sami says hearing Jimmy use the word brother breaks his heart because that's what they were. Sami goes on about how Jimmy had his back from day one over anyone else in the bloodline. Without Jimmy, there is no honorary Uso, no Sami Uso or feeling Usi. Sami says when things went down at the Royal Rumble, Jimmy didn't think twice. He took down Sami without hesitation, and that hurt. So they stare each other down. So Jimmy says Sami is so damn selfish. Jimmy said this is all Sami's fault. All he had to do, my bad. He had the chair in his hand, and all he had to do was pull the trigger, stepping on both Jimmy and Jay. Jimmy did what he had to do. That's what family does. Sami interrupts and says, family that make you prove yourself every week like Roman did to him and has done to Jimmy and Jay. So we see Jay, he appears in the crowd. So the fans are going ecstatic over this. Sami says the bloodline isn't about Roman. It's about one man. And if that's the last thing he does, he will make sure that Roman and the bloodline come crumbling down. Sami says Jimmy doesn't have to go down with it and go down with the ship. But there are both ways. But there's a way out for both of the Usos. So Sami looks up at Jay. So Jimmy cheap shot Sami. Jimmy and Sami, they brawl. Jimmy yells for Jay to come to the ring. Jay's not moving at all. So Sami hits a haluva kick to Jimmy and lays him out. And then Solo rushes down. So Sami retreats. Then he goes back to the crowd. So Jay is standing at the barrier. And then he's looking over across at Sami. And Jimmy and Solo, they look on from the ring. So Sami stands in the crowd, looking back at them. Jay's also looking on from his spot at the barrier, and then we go out the air. So this leads us more questions than answers. I love this. This is phenomenal storytelling. Jay is so torn. He's so distraught. He doesn't know where to go. If he sides with his family or he sides with Sami. And this is tremendous storytelling. Tremendous storytelling. This is great. I love it. I love it. Where this all goes, nobody really knows. Nobody knows at all. No one. And this is absolutely tremendous. I love this shit. This is so damn good. So damn good. They only have 5 weeks until Mania, though. They only have 5 weeks. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. But I'm here for it. And this is absolutely solid stuff. Great storytelling right here. Love it. And what's an interesting fact is Roman going to force Jay to get in line and force him? So there's also that aspect to the story as well. Remember, people have to realize The Bloodline started with Roman and Jey. It's going to end with those two. And I do think that Jey is going to screw over Roman at Mania. Jey is going to be the sole reason as to why Cody dethrones Roman. It makes the most sense. It does. Like, that would be the biggest fuck you to Roman. To have Jey be the one to screw him over. Then you can have Roman go away for a few months. Come back at SummerSlam. Jey versus Roman. So, you could do that. And that probably might be the plan. But SmackDown this week was very solid. I enjoyed it for the most part. Only thing I didn't like was the Natalya and Shayna Baszler stuff. But that's because Natalya's involved. She's boring. Get her out. Not being mean, but she is boring. She's been there for 15 years, not doing anything. Just have her be a backstage producer. Please. Just do something. Just don't get on television. The Bray Wyatt stuff was solid. Karrion Kross beating Rey is good. So I'm guessing we'll get a rubber match down the road sometime. I'm guessing they're going to set up for Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio taking on Damien, Priest, and Dominik. That'll be fine. The Bray Wyatt stuff is great, as always. But, yeah, this was a real solid episode of SmackDown. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below. What do you guys think of the show? Peace.
So